when you are living an intuitively led life, it is not easy. At the start, it's difficult. It doesn't feel like the path of least resistance. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shalay and I am a spiritual entrepreneur who has dedicated their entire lives to living one that is intuitively led, and I document that process here on YouTube. In this video, I wanted to give you the tea when it comes to actually living an intuitively led life. A lot of the things that people don't talk about, because I'm actively doing it now, I'm like, holy shit, like there are specific things you need to be aware of if you are going to live your life this way. I thought that living an intuitively led life was going to be like fairies and butterflies, and once I was aligned, it was all just going to fall into place. And that's an aspect of it, but when you're kind of working through the muck of it, which is, I believe, like the stage that I'm in right now, really trying to reprogram my thoughts and create this different life. So that's what this video is going to share. Basically the tea, things that you need to know that are going to help you not only strengthen your intuition, but help you live more of an intuitive lifestyle. But I cannot believe how late I'm actually starting this video. It's 1 in the afternoon. I spent the entire morning at the cafe. I don't know what happens to me, but when I'm at the cafe and I'm working, I just feel like I get so much work done. I've been trying a different way of doing things lately, so I found myself trying to like create a 9 to 5. So I've literally taken a step back and I'm rethinking everything that I do, you know, thinking, is this an intuitively led decision or is this a part of my old programming that doesn't serve me anymore? So how can I restructure this? So after having had that realization, I have made the decision now to only work from 9 o'clock to about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And that has been working so well for me. I'm not gonna lie, obviously it's still a little bit uncomfortable because I'm trying to train myself to be okay with doing less, but I feel like I have more energy to show up when I go to the cafe and I'm working. I'm actually working and I'm not just fucking around, because what was it like happening is from like 2 o'clock onwards, I was doing nothing in the afternoon because I was sitting there with the intention to do something, but then I would do nothing. I would feel bad about doing nothing. So now I'm just like giving myself permission to do nothing during that time. But yeah, honestly, everything I needed to get done today has gotten done. So I think that I'm just gonna stop altogether and just have a really intentional afternoon. And tonight we're doing something so fun. I've seen this everywhere on the internet. I've been wanting to do it for so long. Like, I'm gonna leave it as a surprise, but I actually can't wait. A lot of people relay the transformation, what you can get when you follow your intuition. But I actually think talking about the journey in between, I think that that's really, really important. For so long, I was stuck in this cycle of, am I doing it wrong? Am I doing the right thing? What am I meant to be doing? Like questioning every little step because of how uncomfortable it felt to go against what my analytical mind was saying. We have 3 different aspects to us. We have our intuition, our higher self, the connection to source, that divine consciousness, that thing that's guiding you. We have our ego, that is keeping us bound to this physical plane, keeping us bound to this experience, keeping you bound to your body, making you, you, making me, me. With that ego, we wouldn't have this drive to actually want to live. And then we have something called the unintegrated ego. Now, the unintegrated ego is a term that my friend and I came up with, but we find that it really, really explains this part of you that limits you. The unintegrated ego ego can also be seen as that analytical mind, that part of you that's over analyzing every little step, that's projecting anxiety, projecting fear, projecting any sort of limitation that's stopping you from doing something, anything. Now, the unintegrated ego is closely linked with the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is primarily formed between the ages of 0 to 7. That's when it's heavily influenced, and then so forth as well. You know, whoever we grow up with, the things that we see, our high school experiences, all of the things, that all impacts our belief system and how we are taught to navigate the world. So while you might not actually know what's going on from the ages of 0 to 7, you're absorbing this terminology, you're absorbing the energy that's around you. So the people that you're around, any guardians, parents, siblings, the community, the school, anything at all of this is affecting you. Now, the reason why this is relevant for you is because all of that stuff you learned growing up is either going to support or hinder your growth and your pathway to getting your dream life, your manifestations. This is what is actually standing in the way of you and having that thing. There is nothing else that stands in the way. That manifestation, that desire, that is all yours. But somewhere in your belief system, you have a story as to why that can't be yours. And that is why it's not in your reality. When you are living an intuitively led life, it is not easy. At the start, it's difficult. It doesn't feel like the path of least resistance. That's why I say take the path of most resistance, because that's literally the journey at the start. And then once you start to embody this more and more, then you start taking the path of least resistance. That saying then becomes relevant. But when you're just starting out and you're trying to get comfortable with trusting and strengthening your intuition, it is going to feel so uncomfortable. You are going to feel like you are making the wrong decision. Your unintegrated ego is programmed for survival. It has developed its understanding of the world based on the start of your life, the things that you experienced. If you start doing things that go against that programming, your unintegrated ego will do anything to get back into control. I run this program called MDL, and we do intuitive tests, and this is actually something that comes up all of the time. When the girls start to receive messages from their intuition and they start to hear their intuition, the ego starts to mimic the way intuition actually comes in and gives messages to stay in control. It will literally do anything to be in that driver's seat. So you best believe when you start making decisions in your day-to-day life that actually go against what your unintegrated ego is programmed to believe and think, it's going to fucking freak out and it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to give you anxiety. It's going to give you all of the worry, the doubt. But that's why we have these practices in place. We're doing this to hold ourselves through it. I just want to normalize that it's going to feel very difficult at the start. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, and it's your job to hold yourself through the bad days. You have to ignore what's happening in your external environment, and trust me, I know that it's hard, but you need to persist at this. There's a difference between actually bypassing on the work and not getting sucked into the matrix. Maybe I'll do a video on that. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments below, but there is a difference. Anyway, I'm going to eat this mango. Mango is the best fruit. I don't understand anyone that doesn't like mango. I think you're weird. It's literally perfection. Again, I'm very late and I've given myself less than 10 minutes to put on my makeup. There's another really big misconception when it comes to following your intuition, and this is one that I was lost in for such a long time. I broke this down in a masterclass that I ran called Never Be Confused About Your Soul Purpose Again, because I kid you not, the topic of soul purpose kept me from taking action for I think over 6 months. I was just in this constant cycle of, am I doing the right thing? What's my purpose? Oh, this is my purpose. This is my thing. oh no, that's not my thing, what's my thing, what's my thing, constantly. And it was just this cycle of sabotage. Like I said in the previous clip, the unintegrated ego will do anything to keep you safe. And this is actually a pattern that many people are in. They're in this illusion of thinking that they need to find their thing before they start taking action, before they 1000% commit to it. They need to find their soul's calling, their exact message that they're here to share with the world. And the truth is that becomes clear when you start taking the action. If you want to dive deeper on this topic, I highly recommend getting your hands on that masterclass. There is a Black Friday sale going on at the moment, so you can get it off half price, literally 50% off, and it is fucking so good. Something I spoke about in that masterclass is that there is literally no such thing as knowing exactly where your intuition is guiding you. Hear me out. I was in the illusion, and many people are in the same illusion, of waiting for their intuition to give them the big picture, to give them the entire roadmap to where they want to go. This is a trap to keep you from actually taking action, because when you take action, you create change, you enter the unknown. When you follow that intuitive voice that's telling you to do that scary thing, but it's also exciting at the same time, when you take that action, the reality is you enter unknown. You don't know what's to come next. You are opening yourself up to anything, and that's terrifying for the unintegrated ego, particularly if your unintegrated ego has a negative bias. And this is really easy to tell if you're actually doing this. You would have some sort of direction or some sort of thing that you know that you should be doing, and that thing would be terrifying you. It's that thing that you know that you need to do, but it scares the absolute shit out of you. For me, it was YouTube. It was obviously like a bunch of things. I was terrified to have a podcast. I was terrified to go on social media, but none of that was as bad as my fear of actually going on YouTube. At the very start of my awakening, that very direction I was given was to make a YouTube channel, and I kept ignoring it. I literally kept trying to go in circles until I got round back to the start of this year, where I was like, fuck, I just have to make this YouTube channel just to see what I was gonna get. But I wasn't given anything else other than that. And that's what I mean by you are never going to be given the full picture. I have a vision of what I want. My desires are speaking to me, yes, but I have no fucking idea on how I'm gonna get there. Honestly, this entire year, I've lived this intuitive lifestyle where I've just listened to the guidance as it's come. And it's not like my intuition is communicating to me every day. No, at the start of the year, my only advice was start YouTube. I had no idea what I was going to do next. I had nothing in place, no business structure. I was doing nothing for money other than working at this job that I didn't like for like 2 days a week. That was literally my life. And I was like, and I have to do YouTube? Like, what the hell is that gonna do for me? So once I finally embodied that, then the next step I got, the next piece of guidance was rest. I was like, what? Rest? That was my intuition talking to me, saying, just rest. This is what you're meant to do. Trust me and rest. Trust me and rest. That was hard to do, but then eventually I did that. The next piece of the puzzle came. Then my idea for multidimensional living came through. And then that led to me creating the Never Be Confused About Your Soul Purpose Again masterclass. And then that led me to creating a group program with my best friend. You're never ever going to have the full picture, and you have to get good at being able to follow that guidance before actually getting the proof in your reality. I want to give you some tips on how to actually start trusting that voice before you get the proof in your physical reality. But that's gonna have to wait, because your girl's late once again. By the way, these are heatless curls. I've been doing like the sock curls. Every girl needs to try it. I don't know where this has been my whole life. I love it. I love it so much. Like, they look a bit shit today, but still not that bad. Like, the heatless sock curls. Anyway, I'm going. I will see you there. I'm so excited. Say hi. We just finished up a guest teaching session. I'm feeling so tired this morning, honestly. Like, I've woken up and I'm like, holy shit. I feel hungover. I had all the energy for the masterclass and now I'm like, I can't see. So last night you would have seen we went to Karen's Cafe, which is so much fun. It's like everywhere on the internet and I really wanted to have the experience. So Karen's Cafe, no, it's Karen's Diner. What the fuck am I saying? It's an experience where you have really rude service and the waiters are absolute assholes and it's just a really fun experience. But they make the entire experience like super inconvenient. Like, they won't give you napkins and things like that. But there was one thing I forgot about the experience is the obnoxiously loud music that they have. So they have like blasting music to the point where you can't actually talk to the people that you're with, and it's meant to be like that. Like, it's meant to be an entire inconvenience. But I'm a highly sensitive person. I absorb energy like a sponge. So when there's a lot of stimuli and a lot happening and they're screaming, my energy just ended up dropping so much. Like, when we actually left, I was so tired. I was yawning. I was struggling to keep my eyes open, and I did cleanse my energy before I went to bed. Like, if you're an empath, you need to do energy protection. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I actually created a video for empaths that goes through that entire thing. I'll leave it linked here for you. I'm just a giant baby. That's what I am. I'm a walking giant baby who's like highly sensitive to everything. If you're a highly sensitive person, you get it. I don't have to explain myself. Yesterday, I was talking about how intuition comes in drips and drabs. It's not like you're given the entire picture. And this can be really, really difficult. I wouldn't have been able to make the shifts that I made in my life without actually starting off small. I had to develop a relationship with my intuition. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So when I say start off small, I mean like literally what you feel like eating for the day. Feeling into the intuitively aligned decision that's actually for you. Taking a moment before agreeing to go out with a friend on a coffee date or go out to the nightclub, whatever it might be. Take a moment to go within and be like, do I really want to do this? Is my energy here for going out and interacting with that person, or is it not? And whatever the answer is, practice on following that and you'll be able to feel it. Intuition it can sometimes feel uncomfortable. Like, sometimes you're going to be called to maybe eat a nutritious meal, but your ego wants something deep fried. That's just an example, right? And your ability to choose yourself, to choose your health, to choose the option that's actually going to be beneficial for you, that's your intuition. That's like a really standard example. But another example could be a friend is inviting you out. You were really excited to go out with this friend when you agree to the plans. But then a couple of weeks go by, the day comes where you have to meet up with that friend and you feel so exhausted, you were so tired, you were not feeling like you were in the energetic space to actually meet up with that person. Your ego will come in and be like, you made a commitment to that person, it's rude, what would they think? But your intuition is telling you on the day, you need to honor yourself, you need to take this time out to rest and you need to reschedule with that person. If you ignore your intuitive voice in that situation and you go on that lunch date or whatever it might be and you convince yourself, you know, it's fine, it'll be for a little bit, but whatever story you tell yourself, that's you ignoring your intuition and following the ego. In that moment, if you could be like, hey, I'm not feeling great. I know I said that I was going to meet up and I was going to be available, but I've woken up and I just don't feel up to it today. Can we please reschedule? Not only are you honoring your intuition, but you're honoring that person as well. When you show up in an energy where you're drained and you're not actually energetically like there for the person, you're not doing them any favors just as much as you're not doing you any favors. Like, it affects them, it affects you. You can feel energy from a mile away. So you could easily argue with me in that situation and say, well, morally that's not right. You've made a commitment, blah, blah, blah. But then I would challenge you to be like, well, who's decided that morally that's not right? Who's decided it's not morally right to nourish yourself? So I want you to start like questioning the things that you're doing, why you're making the decisions that you're making, because it's not as simple as going, what do I feel like doing and what don't I feel like doing? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's really, really simple. But when you're first starting off like with this journey of following your intuition, it can get confusing. It really takes a lot of like self-awareness to make aligned decisions where you're following your intuition. But as soon as you can actually start to like follow your intuition in the small things every single day, that accumulates to the big things. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Then you start thinking in a different way. You really need to be finding a way to take some sort of action when your intuition is actually speaking, because the only way this relationship gets stronger is when you start listening to that voice, when you start doing what that voice is actually telling you to do. In MDL, that's actually how I train intuition specifically. I actually get people to rely on that voice at like no matter what. So So I'll put them in situations where they have no choice but to listen to their intuition, because that is ultimately the only way that we're going to actually make this voice stronger and stronger and stronger. This is the most important relationship that you need to be nourishing in your life above anything else. Because if you can improve this internal dialogue in this relationship, everything else falls into place. I'm gonna leave it there for this video. Please let me know what you thought of today's video. Let me know what your thoughts are, anything you'd like to share in the comments below. Make sure to like this video if it resonated with you, and it lets me know that you're enjoying these types of videos and you want me to make more. If you have any suggestions on things that you'd like to see from me, please also feel free to let me know in the comments below as well. With all of that being said, I'm sending you so much love. Enjoy your day or night wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.